Very good evening to you once again. Let's have a look at the headlines as we start. Yes, let's have a look at the headlines as we start. UNAIDS Chief Winnie Byanyima lauds President Museveni for role in the HIV/AIDS fight. 50.5% female graduates performed better this 7th graduation ceremony at Makerere. US reverses China currency manipulator label, while 30 netball under 21 girls in camp ahead of the Africa Netball World Cup tournament. Yes, my name is Michael Jordan Lukumwa. I'm with Mohammed Mugalu, our sign language interpreter. The executive director of the UNAIDS, in our first story, that is Winnie Byanyima, has thanked President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the contribution in the HIV/AIDS fight. At a meeting at State House in Entebbe, Byanyima congratulated the president for his efforts in fighting HIV and driving the awareness campaign in the country. She was giving an overview of the state of affairs in the HIV/AIDS fight and told the president that efforts should be placed on messages of prevention with focus on specific groups that are at risk of infection, such as sexual minorities and commercial sexual workers. She briefed the president on the upcoming international conference on AIDS and HIV and sexually transmitted diseases in Africa. Uganda won the right to host the 21st edition of the International Conference on AIDS and Sexually Transmitted Infections in Africa, which will take place next year in 2021. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni welcomed and thanked Byanyima and her delegation for supporting preparations for the upcoming conference. He pledged government support in organizing the event. The president also said that laws and regulations guiding the operations of the Uganda AIDS Commission would be reviewed to ensure smooth and effective operations at the agency. President Filipe Nyusi of the Republic of Mozambique has received a special congratulatory message from his counterpart, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, at the President's office in Maputo, Mozambique. In a message delivered by Vice President Edward Chwanuka Sekandi, President Museveni hailed the bilateral relations between Mozambique and Uganda. He wished him a successful tenure of office with peace, progress and prosperity of the people of Mozambique. In his remarks, President Nyusi said that Mozambique is the second home of President Yoweri Museveni and he appreciates his visit in 2018. President Nyusi pledged to visit Uganda and further boost the bilateral and mutual interests between the two countries. Vice President Edward Sekandi later addressed a press conference and said that the NRM government is grateful to the mentorship given to the NRA-NRM revolutionaries that ushered in the current government in the 1986. He thanked the people for electing President Filipe Nyusi and the Frelimo party. Away from that, this year, Makerere University has graduated 50.5% female graduates compared to 49.5% males at the first 70th graduation ceremony of the university. The best students from both the sciences and humanities colleges were also female. The leader of government business and Prime Minister of Uganda, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, represented President Yoweri Museveni at this year's graduation ceremony, as we see in this report.
At least 13,510 graduates will be awarded degrees, diplomas, and of these, 6,820 are female, representing 5.5%, 6,689 are male, representing 49.5%. In the Vice Chancellor's statement, 61 graduates will receive PhDs. Of these, 17 female, 1,173 graduates. Of these, 471 are female, will receive master's degrees, while 422 will receive first-class degrees. In a speech read for him by the Prime Minister, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, President Yoweri Museveni said that the NRM government would promote sciences, a strategy for a literate, skilled, industrialized population.
We have demonstrated this through availing the 30 billion shillings to the Research and Innovation Fund at Makerere University. Government will avail more money for research and innovation as the economy continues to improve. Once again, I salute the graduates and their parents. This stage of your education might have come to an end, but the learning process must continue.
The First Lady and Minister for Education, Janet Museveni, reiterated government's commitment to increase funding for innovation and research at the university.
The university has established an incubation center to nurture ideas and link university researchers to industry, who are the end users. This development is commendable, and we shall continue to support the university in this area. I encourage you to seek more support, linkages and partnerships by taking advantage of your unique areas of strength. Government expects your research to contribute innovation, knowledge, and knowledge generation, and inform our strategies for industrialization and development.
The minister urged the university management to find reasonable ways of resolving conflicts. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, said that the University Council has approved a strategic plan that will unlock its potential and one that indiscipline will not be tolerated at the university.
I wish to assure our stakeholders that the struggle to weed out indiscipline from Makerere University will continue. And the students who have made hooliganism a hobby or a trade will be dismissed from the university.
He noted that the university is working round the clock to recover its land that has been encroached upon by land grabbers. Remija Simbonye, UBC News.
The new Minister for Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, that is Judith Nabakooba, has urged the media to cover government programs and steer Uganda's development agenda. As Henry Okrut reports, Nabakooba was receiving instruments of power from outgoing Minister Frank Tumwebaze, and she warned corrupt officials in the ICT sectors.
New ministers appointed to the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance have assumed the office. The latest docket, the ICT and National Guidance Ministry has received Ministers Judith Nabakooba and Peter Ogwang.
So the Honorable Minister, you can take over your seat.
More to portraits displayed here in this boardroom will be added as the change of guards takes effect.
Connectivity is the core of ICT, because without broadband, whatever online activity you want to have, you won't have it. And we have a policy in place. I think it's among the instruments I'm handing over, the broadband policy.
If we are talking about connectivity, are we going to evaluate ourselves? How far have we reached in that area of connectivity? If it is innovations, have we delivered up to the expectations? What are the challenges?
They follow the appointing authority agenda to crack down on corruption, this time in the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
It does not mean that you're corrupt, but now that we have a word from the principal, who is the chief executive, for us we are here to execute. So I want to promise this, that we shall work with you, but whenever you go on the red line, definitely I don't think we shall be able to entertain that.
If it is the issue to do with resources, but we need to lobby resources that are going to work, not resources that will be diverted. If we ask for resources, we need resources that we shall be ready to account for, that we asked for this money from Parliament, we've been in position to do ABCD.
This task was President Yoweri Museveni's agenda for 2020 during the swearing in on Monday.
I don't want to hear of any corruption in any of those sectors. Really, this is a betrayal by you fellows, you people. When you have this opportunity to serve the 42 million people, and you, instead of doing that, you start doing crooked things.
The new Minister for ICT, Judith Nabakooba, also appeals to the media to promote government programs.
But you find that if you are to allocate space, we are given an eighth, or not even an eighth. So can you help us to promote government programs and policies? Can you give the ministers space to speak, to explain to the wananchi what government is doing in the respective areas? So I believe we are going to build a network. We shall come for your advice and guidance on how we can make it better, to have more of government programs given publicity or space in both electronic and print media.
Outgoing Minister Frank Tumwebaze moves to the Gender, Labour and Social Development Ministry, taking over from Hajat Janat Mkwaya. Peter Ogwang is the State Minister for ICT, replacing Aida Nantawa, who returns to Parliament as Kayunga District Woman Representative. Henry Okurut, UBC.
The newly appointed Principal Judge Dr. Flavian Zeija has taken oath of office at State House in Debe. The ceremony was presided over by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, where former Director of Public Prosecutions Dr. Mike Chibita was also sworn in as Justice of the Supreme Court alongside two others.
Towards the end of last year, President Museveni appointed to fill the position of Principal Judge and Justices of the Supreme Court. These are Mbarara resident judge Dr. Flavian Zeija coming in to replace the retiring Principal Judge Dr. Yorokamba Mwine. Dr. Mike Chibita, Ezekiel Mhanguzi and Pasetu Haise as Justices of the Supreme Court.
I, Mike Chibita, swear in the name of the Almighty God,
and will do right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda,
and protect and defend the Constitution. So help me God.
I'm confident and energized that I, together with them, we shall execute our duties and responsibilities with determination and professionalism to your expectation at the appointing authority and the expectations of Ugandans.
The Chief Justice Bat Katwebe thanked the President for supporting the judiciary with the timely appointment of judicial officers.
2 months ago that we were here swearing in judges of the High Court, and we are here swearing in justices of the Supreme Court and Principal Judge. I think that clearly demonstrates your continued support to the judiciary. But at the same time, sir, I have to report that with the elevation of Justice Mwanguza and Justice Tuhaise, that leaves 2 vacancies on the Court of Appeal, so we want some more.
Justice Katwebe said there is need to equip them with the tools of trade. In remark, President Museveni commented on the need to appoint more judges, especially for the Court of Appeal, where both Justice Ezekiel Mhanguzi and Pasetu Haise have been serving.
One by one makes a bundle. Every time we come here, we are adding, we are adding, we are adding, we are adding, we are adding. I'm very happy to be part of this exercise, and I use this occasion to congratulate the new judges.
With the 3 justices, the panel of the Supreme Court is now fully constituted with the required number of 11 justices. Dorcas Kimono, UBC TV News.
Uganda Revenue Authority has advised government to either change the strategy of collecting over-the-top social media charges of or scrap it. The Commissioner General of the URA, Doris Akol, told the Finance Committee of Parliament that URA has failed to reach the desired target of OTT collection.
In 2018, Parliament passed the social media tax levy known as over-the-top tax on social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp. Following a directive by the President, the OTT tax levy was introduced with an intention of increasing tax revenue collection by 2020. However, the Commissioner General, Uganda Revenue Authority Doris Akol, has told the Parliamentary Committee on Finance that URA has not realized the intended target. Akol was appearing before the Finance Committee with a team from URA to present a statement on the institutional budget framework for the 2020-2021 financial year.
Gazetting of more withholding tax agents, this was not implemented, and the implication is that it has affected the efforts towards collection of tax at source, because there is a lot of tax that is evaded when payments are made and tax is not withheld at source.
Tell these telecom companies they are embezzling over 1.1 trillion every financial year. I think 2 trillion. Yeah. Now, when you talk about OTT evasion, this is a hard area. Actually, I deserved that question at my right time to explain us that issue of the 2 trillion that is embezzled through telecom companies. And now here is OTT, where she's saying that is not performing well, yet we are paying, and the payment is direct from phone to company.
Doris Akol highlighted a number of challenges faced by the tax body, among which include the unregulated informal sector, which affects expansion of the revenue base, gross under declaration of rental income, and inadequate funding. She advised the government to change the strategy of OTT collection.
Abolish some non-tax charges on government services, e.g. verifying land titles, renewing passports, and this could address a tax moral issue so that more people are able to access government services for which taxpayer funds are provided. Make changes in the law to mandate individuals to file their income tax returns, and this will improve the filing ratios as well as tax compliance.
The shillings 200 levied on social media usage for every 24 hours was introduced following a directive by the President. URA advises that government abolishes other taxes like the digital stamp duty, the land title verification tax, driving permits, and passport charges.
And we have been wondering where the problem is coming from. And this is one direction that we are seeing.
Last year, URA achieved the revenue collection of 16.6 trillion shillings, and this financial year registered 9.2 trillion as half collection from July to December, against the target of 9.7 trillion.
Starting from 2013-2014, and I think it is notable for the members to note that 2013-2014, the revenue collection was 8.2 trillion. But as we close 2018-2019, 5 years later, the revenue collections had doubled to 16.6 trillion, which is right on the trajectory that revenue has been growing at.
Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
Still in Parliament, State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Henry Okello Oryem, has asked the Parliament through the Foreign Affairs Committee to avoid making comments on the Rwanda-Uganda issue, which would disrupt the ongoing engagements. Oryem confirms that President Yoweri Museveni and Paul Kagame are already in talks over the issue.
We agreed among that it's best that in resolving this matter with Rwanda, we do not get into a situation or engage or say something that might derail the process that is already being made.
For a year now, there has been contention between Uganda and Rwanda over the closure of borders, which affected the relationship between the two countries. But early this year, President Museveni promised a new beginning for Uganda and Rwandan peace. While appearing before the Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs, State Minister for Foreign Affairs Okello Oryem asked Parliament to honor the ongoing talks. He had led a team of officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to present the budget framework paper for the 2020-2021 financial year.
And I therefore ask you and beg you and beg colleagues that we have made tremendous progress and trust us that is being handled by President Museveni at the highest level, and I beg you that let us leave it as that. Apart from the Luanda agreement, the two head of states are using their direct contact to see how to resolve this matter.
On the other hand, the minister told the committee that there is a sagging business relationship between Uganda and Kenya that needs to be addressed. This is after Kenya impounded tons of Lato milk from Uganda last week. Nonetheless, while presenting the budget framework paper, the minister highlighted that there is a failure to pay areas of international organizations subscription, as well as failure to maintain a number of properties on prime land abroad over insufficient budget.
Some of Uganda's properties abroad are dilapidated and some have been condemned. Mr. Chairman, it all comes down to money. That's why, as I told earlier, I preempted this question by saying that in the absence of the money for development, we have to prioritize and try and address these issues of run-down properties and condemned properties.
On the labor export, the minister said Ugandans, especially domestic workers, are abused and need to be helped. He tasked the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development to handle the complaints.
This matter, Mr. Chairman, is a matter of the domain of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. It is them who give licenses and identify those who are responsible for exportation of our young men and girls abroad. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs plays no role whatsoever, no iota of a role in identifying the companies that export labor abroad.
Susan Nawonga reporting for UBC TV.
Away from Parliament, National Resistance Movement members of Parliament who voted against the presidential age limit removal have been excluded from attending the party's National Delegates Conference. The NRM Party Secretary General Justin Kasule Lumumba says that having voted against, according to the party laws, was indiscipline. The National Conference meeting slated for January 25th, as we see in this report.
Over 14,000 delegates from village to national level, including diaspora and party promoters, are due to attend the NRM National Conference meeting selected for January 25th. Top on the agenda of the National Conference is to amend the NRM party constitution and the upcoming 2021 general elections.
The public is here cautioned that only those whose names appear on the approved lists will be allowed to access the accreditation centers and also Nambole for the national conference. So I call on all our supporters, members of NRM, in case you are not part of the participants who are clearly stated in the constitution of NRM, please, my prayer to you is that you don't come, because we have always had these issues. Please, I request you don't come, because you don't fall in this category and we have not catered for you for anything.
Although NRM MPs automatically qualify to attend the national conference, this time 27 of them who voted against the age limit will not be entertained.
Then the issue of what one has called the MPs who are planning to come and cause havoc, the national chairman of NRM gave guidance that for those members of parliament who didn't vote, who didn't move with the party when we were having constitutional amendments, they will not be invited, and we don't expect, since they will not have invitations, they will not come to attend the national conference.
Some of the 27 MPs who voted against the party decision and will not be allowed to attend the NRM National Conference include Woman MP Kumi Monica Amoding, Kabarole Woman MP Sylvia Rwabogo, Theodore Sechkubo MP Lwemeaga, Woman MP Chirandongo Helen Kahunde, Patrick Nsaba MP Kasanda North, and Barnabas Tinkasimire MP Buyaga West.
And so, when you talk of somebody planning to come and cause havoc, we have already written to the IGP as per the Public Order Management Act to offer security.
Meanwhile, the NRM-leaning independent MPs will attend the national conference. The media briefing at the party headquarters in Kampala saw the party Secretary General Justin Kasule Lumumba and EC chairperson of the party Tanga Odoi share light moments.
You asked me a very good question and a very simple one. Working together is a strategy. Appearing together or not together is also a strategy. We've been working together. We have been building synergies. And even when we used not to appear together, it was also good for the party. For 2020, this is a beginning point. We shall be addressing press conferences together.
For UBC TV News, I am Philip Aguta.
The Capital City Authority is to request Parliament for supplementary budget of 8.5 billion shillings to operationalize the new KCCA law that has been gazetted by the President. Speaking during a resumed authority meeting, the acting executive director KCCA, Engineer Andrew Chitaka, said that they will also need 3.3 billion shillings recurrent costs, which funds are not available this financial year.
The Lord Mayor has chaired the last KCCA authority meeting after the President gazetted the new KCCA law that provides for council to be presided over by a speaker and establishment of the executive to be headed by the Lord Mayor. It was called to discuss the KCCA budget framework paper for 2020, 2021 and other issues like the property rates.
The question of the funding of the budget. I think we need to critically reflect on this. They need to raise funds as used.
Operationalizing the new law, which was gazetted on the 10th of this month, requires funds which KCCA technical team say are not available this financial year.
Our plan actually was to request for a supplementary budget.
The KCC law was amended and just recently gazetted. And therefore, that means that this is the last meeting that the Lord Mayor has called under his mandate. The next meeting should be called by the Speaker of Council. So that means that to put up the office of the Speaker, you require money, which money was not budgeted for in this financial year. And it requires money. So that's the reason that the Council has opted to request for more funding from Parliament. And I believe that this money should come soon so that we can set up the office of the Speaker together with the executive.
Issue that relates to the new law that has been gazetted that needs to be operationalized. We have also agreed that the Minister for Kampala leads a team to Parliament tomorrow to go and make a case for a supplementary budget to ensure that the new roles and offices that have been created are made functional.
On property rates, the chairman of the Revenue Committee presented a report following a benchmark on these rates with different local governments, and it recommended to charge 5% those with properties below 5 million and 6% to properties above 5 million shillings. The issue of double taxation with implementation of this tax at 6% came out.
Property rates today, as we speak, we have quite a number of taxes. We have the rental tax that is taken by URA. We have the property rates tax that is got from the same property. So, and we have a program called TREP, where URA and KCC and URSB work together to collect revenue in one center. And this, because it's in the centers of KCC, people think that all the revenue that we collect actually go to KCC, which is not the case.
If it is 5%, the loss occasionally is 2 billion. If it is 4%, about 3 to 4 billion. That is, and it means a lot to the locals. They propose the 4%, whereas the category which falls 5 million and above
we can retain it at 6%, and I believe that is a win-win situation. It captures the majority on the lower side, but at the same time, we retain the minority on the other, we maintain the majority who are on the upper side.
After extension of his contract to 6 months as acting executive director, KCCA by the appointment authority, Inya Andrew Kitaka presented the KCCA budget framework paper to the authority of 285 billion shillings. To the surprise of councillors, the key unfunded priorities in the 2020-2021 budget area actually would be prioritized. Procurement of drugs in KCCA health facilities requires 8.9 billion with 0.9 billion allocated. Drainage improvement required 13 billion, but only 1 billion is allocated.
With that letter, after adopting the banded system, and it has created this financial gap, may we get the funding from the central coffers to fill up the gap created? We presented the case to Parliament. That can happen tomorrow.
But before he was out of the law to present the budget because it was not substantial. So we have discussed the budget for 2020-2021 and it's going to be presented to Parliament by the ED and the Lord Mayor and the technical team from Treasury tomorrow in Parliament. However, we have agreed as members of the authority that we should have pilot projects, and we have picked 3 main areas in which to pilot actually in this coming financial year.
According to Chitaka, physical planning and drainage improvement have attracted grants.
If we get the project of the ADB, it has so many new roads. The project of annuity, it has so many new roads. So why don't we put our efforts there such that we can get this money and have an impact?
Adjustments like prioritizing procurement of garbage truck this financial year have been done in the budget that is to be presented by the Minister for Kampala. For UBC, Helen Barbara and Farida Namfuka.
Police operating with other security organs have halted the sensitization meeting of a pressure group of the NRM Team Thara in the new tax park in Kampala. The NRM pressure group is currently soliciting for party support and wooing back disgruntled members. Police stopped the meeting because the organizers had not informed them as per the law. This disappointed the organizers and the NRM supporters who had converged in the new tax park and the Team Thara.
baterera nene kubeera nga ate tulemeseddwa abalala babaganye okubeera nga bakola ki naye era tubitutte n'ekibondo ky'ebizibu tukiguddemu era nga begase ne poliisi balemesezza olukiiko lwaffe okwogerako eri abantu naye nga ekyewuunyisa nti RDC ne diso bonna empapula twadde baazibawadde nga bamanyi olukiiko lugenda okubawa era bwe tutuuse wano tufunye information ne tubategeeza RDC nga bali awo yabakimanyi okugjako poliisi yewano ngegamba telujja kukola ki telujja kubaawo naye nga omulimu gwaffe ogwa tiimu Thara tuwuliriza bizibu by'abantu abantu babadde bangi bazze batulemesezza okwogerako eri abantu nga batya okumanya ebyebintu byebakola okusinga bbiri tuddemu tukuba olukuŋŋaana gagadde wano mu paaka wano wenyini watulemesezza ffe tugenda okuba olukuŋŋaana oluvannyuma lwa weekisi 2 kubanga ffe omukulembeze yatulonda tutuuke wansi ku grassroot tulabe ebizibu ebiruma bannayuganda kutapulutu wansi naye ffe twewunya okulaba ate bacivil servant ate nga be batuganda okukola ki bafunye obutawuziganya wakati wabakama baabwe UBC ekusiwafwapa naye oluvannyuma ndoozi bafunye okukkanya n'amanyaani mugifu okukola ensonga abantu babadde na nsonga batimu fe babadde batuufu bawa information bakama DPC information ono yataafu kuba tulowooza nti baba bagambye mukama we mukama.
Residents of Bukuju village in Kayunga district were shocked after a resident was found dead in a sandboard. The 21-year-old Chitoko is the one that was found dead in a pond.
Richard Chitoko has been a regular man at Bukuju village in Kayunga sub-county in Kayunga district and well known for sand mining. The Area LC1 chairman, Deogracious Kawochi, says Chitoko usually went to his workplace before his colleagues, but he received a phone call early this morning informing him of the death of Chitoko. Colleagues say Chitoko's body was laying buried under the sandpod. Residents were also disappointed as police delayed to arrive, prompting them to dig out Chitoko's body. Before they took the body for burial, the police came in only to be calmed down by the Kayunga District Criminal Investigations Officer Isaac Mugera. Mugera says it is the police responsibility to take post-mortem to find out the due cause of the death. Shaidat Nasaku reporting for UBC.
People living and working around River Nyamwamba have been urged to plant more trees to mitigate disaster occurrence. The Mayor Kasese Godfrey Kabyanga also advised companies generating hydropower on River Nyamwamba to control flooding.
Kasese Mayor Godfrey Kabyanga is advocating for tree planting as a measure of mitigating environmental hazards. He was responding to interventions of companies generating hydropower on River Nyamwamba on flood control.
And one of the issues was to start up a disaster response committee, which is in place. But we also wanted to start up a sort of disaster response training, which hasn't started yet. So if Nyamwamba hydropower has already embarked on that, they are implementing what us as a district and a municipality have already put in place.
Kabyanga notes that Kasese district and the municipality authorities are creating awareness on planting specific tree species.
Under Agri-Led, obviously, we are going to transform the Nyamwamba Valley. We want to plant bamboo. We want to teach people to use the valley for activities that are compatible with the floodplain of the river.
The community liaison officer Maureen Kagende told trainees that the training will help workers to join the community in mitigating floods and other occurrences along River Nyamwamba. Flooding of most rivers in Kasese district have been attributed to human activities, especially agricultural practices along the river banks. Mutonyi Hilda, UBC.
Mutonyi Hilda's story brings us to this point. We'll take a very short break. We have business, international and business and sports news tonight. Please keep around for all that.
Hi, I'm DJ Drogba. On average, almost 250,000 people die on the road in Africa each year. As a proud African, this breaks my heart knowing that so many deaths could have been avoided. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. Remember, no person is too big or too small to avoid the effects of alcohol. Just one drink can increase the risk of a serious crash. Once it's in your blood system, the only remedy is time. Short-term remedies such as coffee, cold showers, or energy drinks don't help. If you need to travel after a drink, be responsible. Take a taxi or public transport, or just stay where you are. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. We all have a role to play in road safety. Together, let's make Africa's road safer.
Welcome to Fast First, where today we're talking about bride price and how it is a threat to women's progress. And I want us to get straight into it. Is bride price a prestigious thing here in Karamoja?
It is something that is done culturally. That when you're getting married, it's not your husband to pay you, it's the clan.
I believe that when you get married, it is a prestige and it is a pride for you, the family, and even you, the girl who is getting married.
Okay.
So we have strong beliefs in marriage. Marriage is good bonding. Marriage is security itself. Security to the clan, security to the tribe, security to
the lady.
To the lady, because the idea of thinking she has been brought for punishment is not true.
Eastern and Southern Africa Capacity Building Center, in partnership with Nakawa Vocational Training Institute, brings you the Do It Yourself Chekolere, a skills training program to equip participants with basic hands-on technical skills for doing simple tasks in their daily life by themselves. The skills to be taught include repairing simple home wooden furniture, painting your own home and minor house repairs, replacing broken tiles and pavers, replacing broken window glass, fixing a blocked or broken kitchen sink or toilet, TVs, mobile phones and computers, changing a car tire and basic car servicing, welding and others. This training will take place at Nakawa Vocational Training Institute from 20th January to 13th March 2020, 8 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. For more details, call 0706 694801 or 0701 231199. Do it yourself. Chekolere.
Welcome to Business News Tonight. Ministry of Agriculture has trained over 500 tractor operators through NAD's program. The ministry distributed 320 tractors in 2019-20 financial year to farmers, and more than 10,000 farmers benefited in this program.
Agriculture forms the backbone of Uganda's economy, with about 70% of the population employed in the sector. The farmers are still at subsistence level, using a hand hoe whose output is unsustainable. Government has introduced mechanization into the sector and trained 500 operators. The initiative is taken through National Agriculture Advisory Services. Addressing journalists at the Media Center, Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Vincent Sembija, says that through NADS, emphasis is put on value addition.
Agricultural interventions under the commodity approach. This strategy provides an alternative method of channeling government resources to increase production, productivity, and value addition in the agricultural sector.
This will ensure quality of produce at international market.
But you even wake up people so that people don't always think about producing for natural market for a winner. People should know we have a processing factory here. Let me engage with them and produce for them.
The minister also warned farmers about outbreak of locusts in the neighboring Kenya, reminded farmers to stay alert.
Severe and scary. So, and we are in the same zone. They usually move from there to here if they are not handled from there. So we are ready for them, and we are, as my Minister of State mentioned, we are watching very, very closely the movement of these locusts. And once they are ready, we are ready to handle them also.
Government will improve food security in this season so that the country produces enough food for consumption and export. Lydia Chomkama, UBC.
Farmers have been advised to embrace agricultural mechanization in order to get the quality production. This was advised by Patience Chikoni, the Senior Technical Manager for Palladium, during the breakfast meeting where farmers met to share their experiences in Kampala.
Women in agriculture have shared experiences on improving farming systems. A Senior Technical Manager from Palladium, Patience Chikoni, says that they want to transform agricultural sector by empowering women.
So this session specifically was focused on mechanization, sharing our gender perspectives in our mechanization intervention. As a program, NETBALL works across 9 interventions. Of these, sustainable mechanization is one of the key interventions that we work in. And can we start again? No, it's fine, they will edit.
According to research by Palladium, this method reduces the workload of women.
At
tractor services and how women are accessing tractor services. And indeed, there are a range of benefits that women get from using mechanization services broadly and tractor services in particular. And the key one being that mechanization services reduce the workload of women, and so it frees up women's time to do other things, including domestic work and commercial work.
Engineer Madrini Nazwa from the Ministry of Agriculture disclosed that mechanized system has improved lives of women in agriculture.
So in case we promote use of combined harvesters to our farmers, chances are high we may eliminate the 30% losses and at least reach 90%, attain the 99% and only incur 1% of the losses during harvest. So mechanization is very key, very important, and the fact that in agriculture the biggest population are women, and we know the challenges that women incur. They have to take care of their families, they have to take care of their children, they have to do a lot of work at home. So when we promote mechanization, we shall improve the lives of women in Uganda and in agriculture at large.
Kenneth Tanaba compiled this report.
Majid Al Futtaim, one of United Arab Emirates' most respected businesses, has opened its first Carrefour store in Uganda. Located at Oasis Mall, its first hypermarket in Uganda, marks the 306th Carrefour store in the wider region. The entry of Carrefour comes at a time when several regional supermarkets have exited Uganda's market in the recent years, leading to the rise of locally owned supermarkets.
Oasis Mall is one of the busiest shopping centers in the heart of Kampala, and definitely we have to give credit to Nakumatt Supermarket. The closure of Nakumatt Supermarket severely affected businesses here. However, there is a new lease of life with the opening of Carrefour Supermarket at the same place.
The business community is already excited with the new development. Peter Mutebi, who runs a computer shop, has started experiencing increased business after a 3-year slump.
So how is it right now that we have Carrefour?
It's very interesting actually. So far the business is doing well. We've started working. Even other shops which are closed, they have now opened. We are doing very well, and hopefully we are expecting a lot more.
Carrefour is one of the largest hypermarkets and supermarket chains in the world, operated by Majid Al Futtaim, which owns the franchise rights.
As we expand our footprint in Uganda, but there will be a further job creation in developing, maintaining, and supplying our stores. Because you'll have to know that with Carrefour, we create direct jobs, but also indirect jobs.
Currently, we stock up to 20,000 products in our stores, with 99% of these products sourced from local suppliers. And in the future, we will be adding more.
Minister for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Amelia Chambade, urged the investors to embrace the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy.
First of all, the shelf content is more than what we had targeted. We had targeted 40, but I can see we have gone up to 50. As far as fresh fruits and vegetables are concerned, we have gone to over 70.
As part of the Majid Al Futtaim retail offering, Carrefour operates over 300 stores in 15 markets, with Uganda being the 16th across Middle East, Africa and Asia. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. We now go straight to international news. The U.S. has reversed its decision to ban China, a currency manipulator, as the two countries prepare to wind down their trade war. The U.S. said it made the change because China had agreed to refrain from devaluing its currency to make its own goods cheaper for foreign buyers. Washington and Beijing are expected to sign that Phase 1 pact this week. The deal is aimed at de-escalating the tit-for-tat tariff war the two countries have engaged in since 2018. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said that China has made enforceable commitments to refrain from competitive devaluation while promoting transparency and accountability. President Donald Trump has repeatedly accused China of allowing the value of the yuan to fall, making Chinese goods cheaper. But on Monday, the US said that the value of the yuan had appreciated since August at the height of the trade war. Mnuchin also said that China had made enforceable commitments to refrain from devaluation and to share more information about its exchange rates. In the world of sport, 30 netball under 21 girls are in camp ahead of the African Netball World Cup qualifiers. Players in camp are from the best netball schools in Uganda and are to train for 3 months. Uganda will host the tournament that starts on the 4th of May at the MTN Arena, Lugogo.
Uganda Netball Federation kickstarts its 2020 calendar year with preparations to host the Under-21 World Cup qualifiers. 12 countries will be in Uganda from the 4th May to 10th, competing to have 3 countries qualify from Africa.
We started in time. We have the girls we expect to deliver, and at least everything that we think we wanted to use or we want to use in the camp, we have. What I mean, we have the human resource, we have all what we are looking at, the facilities. If there is anything that is not available, then we can do adjustments or go plan B where need be. Otherwise, everything is good. We are starting on with players that we identified from schools. And all the players here, most of them are secondary schools because there are those in a university, but by 2021 they would have clocked 21.
South Africa and Zambia have recently dominated netball, but however, Uganda is pushing hard and ranked among the best in the game. 3 years back, when the tournament was hosted in Botswana, Uganda finished 3rd overall, only to make 8th position in the final games. Now, 30 players have been summoned to start training for 4 months before selecting the final 18 players. The selection was made from the best 4 netball schools, including St. Mary's Chitende, Standard High Zana, King's College Budo, and Masaka SS. 2019 was a fair year for the Netball Federation, competing at the Netball World Cup, finishing 7th in Liverpool, England, an improvement from the previous edition in 2015 in Sydney. Ngabo Amon, reporting for UBC TV.
The cricket bilateral series between Uganda and Tanzania have entered match day 2 with action at Chambogo University Oval.
Uganda's under-19 girls cricket team has beaten Tanzania by 15 runs in a game played at Chambogo University Cricket Oval. Uganda started on the bat and scored 88 runs. During the Tanzanians' innings, Uganda restricted their opponents to 73 runs all out in 20 overs, and thus the 15 runs victory.
So I feel like we did not bat the way we should have batted. The runs we posted were very few actually. And but credit goes to the Tanzanian team. They also are pretty good batch of fielders, and I think they restricted us to that small score. Second innings was a better show from the Uganda team. We've always been a good fielding side. However, there were still niches here and there. We dropped a number of catches, and the Tanzanian side was also very good with picking up the singles.
The Ugandan pursuit was led by Sarah Walaza, whose lady of the match performance gained her 27 runs off 22 balls and a vital catch during a time Tanzania were mounting a commendable chase.
We just had to continue encouraging our bowlers, more so the spinners, because we are doing well, and we had best bowlers, but we just thought of using the spinners because they are doing well.
In the afternoon session of this 3-team tournament, Uganda's under-19 side edged Uganda Select to maintain a table leadership of this double round-robin tournament that will climax on Friday with a final between the top two sides. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
With that, we came to the end of news tonight. Let's have a look at the headlines and wish you a good night. UNA's chief, Winnie Byanyima, has lauded President Museveni for his role in the HIV fight. 50.5% female graduates performed better this graduation at Makerere. US reverses China currency manipulator label, while 30 netball under 21 girls in camp ahead of the African Netball World Cup qualifiers. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomoa with Mohammed Mugalu and the whole team here. We wish you the best of the night, but do not miss the next program. Bye-bye.